All right, I think we are live now on our fourth episode of Meet the Church. No, this is not Meet the Church. I messed up there. This is the update, the fourth episode of the update. And we've had several interviews with missionaries, community leaders, and today we have with us Mitch and Beth Calmes. Also got my wife here with me because we just have a great relationship with Mitch and Beth over the years. We knew them from Lynchburg when we were all in seminary and there at school. And so we go way back. And so I wanted Donna and Beth to certainly join us in our interview today and give you a chance to meet Mitch and Beth Calmes. And they are missionaries to Tanzania, Africa. And as a church here at Westport Baptist, as a church, when you give your offering, there is a portion of that actually gets sent to Tanzania, Africa, to help with the ministry that they are involved with there in Dar es Salaam. So I think this would be important to you because of that, because you are investing in the ministry they have there as they strive to reach, I think, mostly a Muslim population, and as they try to just make the name of Jesus Christ, the fame of His name, known in that land. And they've had God's just greatly blessed their ministry that they've had there. So I'm going to give you a chance to know them, and I'm going to go ahead and just say hi, Mitch and Beth. How are y'all doing?
Doing great, Steve and Donna.
Church, Donna, thanks for joining us today.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad too. It's good to see old friends all the time.
Yeah. So let me jump. We'll jump to what you're doing, and then we're going to jump back to talk about maybe your lives, give people a chance to learn a little bit about your history, your story, and then we'll talk a little bit about your ministry after that. But just quickly, just kind of a 3x5 card version of what it is that you guys are doing right now that we're a part of at Westport.
Okay, as far as ministry goes, we have some great things to report. We're in Tanzania, East Africa, as Pastor has said. And along with that, we do church planting. Beth has a SEPA Threads project. We have a pastoral training program, and I name my house I call Feeding Center to feed orphan needy children. And that's kind of in general what we do there in Tanzania right now. What we're doing right this very minute is we're escaping COVID-19. Back in about March, third week in March, the embassy, State Department sent out a warning encouraging all Americans to come home because they couldn't guarantee our safety or anything there where we were. So we struggled with that and decided to come home because Beth had some history of health issues that we're concerned about. She got that she couldn't get any help. So anyways, we're here in Ohio.
Did you have any issues getting home?
Yes. We kind of got the last plane out of town. One of the last commercial planes out of town. We had our flight scheduled, then it got canceled, then we had to reschedule it, and it was quite a run out the door kind of thing. But so anyway, we got back safely, and we had to be quarantined for a couple weeks, and now we're here kind of doing a work at home program, kind of like a lot of you may be doing now there in North Carolina. So so that's kind of where we are right now. It's kind of what we've done in the past, just as a brief Cliff Note version.
All right. Beth, you doing all right?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you've got a ministry. I know you've got a ministry over there you're heavily involved in with ladies, and I'm sure that thankfully for technology, thankfully with technology, you can still in some ways, I guess, be involved with that. So.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I just got off of a 2-hour meeting with the project that I work with. So we're trying to move things along. From my colleagues and I were all over here now. We all evacuated on the same plane. So we're trying to figure out how to run the project from here, but it's going well. Our Tanzanian national leaders are doing a fantastic job. So that's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's jump back. I know that our church has met you guys before, and you've told a little bit about your story, but, I think you spoke on a Sunday morning, And with that, we oftentimes when we have missionaries on Sunday mornings, it's not the best time or best format to maybe just kind of tell your story, to let people learn about you in just a casual, personal way. So I just want to kind of start out, and we'll start with Beth here. Beth, where are you from? What was life like growing up? Siblings? Were you involved in a church or anything? Just tell your story a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'm from New York State originally, and still claim it.
We both married Yankees there, Mitch. So
I know
You guys
it's a
did.
cross-cultural, our first cross-cultural
yeah,
experience.
it was our mission to try to reach these women. So yeah.
So my parents, it was up in Windham, New York. It's a beautiful ski resort town up in the Catskill Mountains. And long story short, my dad got saved at about 38 years old, moved to seminary, took the whole family, and then ultimately moved us back to that small town to start a church. So I was, from about 7th grade on, was a pastor's daughter up in upstate New York. Had to do all kinds of ministry because, when you're starting a church, they'll use anybody. So I was a 7th grade Sunday school teacher, which is pretty embarrassing, actually, and a lot of other things, from janitor to everything. So that was really cool. I have 2 siblings, a brother and sister. And then after that, I really felt called of the Lord to go to Liberty University. It wasn't called that back then. It was Lynchburg Baptist College, I believe. If I
wow, you're telling your age now.
And so back in the day, I got to move there, and the Lord just used my time there to change my life, my heart direction, show me that He wanted me in full-time ministry. I wanted to be a lawyer and argue cases in front of the Supreme Court. Stupid vision for myself, but God got that all straightened out. And I'm glad He did. And I ultimately met Mitch there. I don't know how far you want me to take my story.
Well, let's let it stop right there, and then we'll bring it. You brought it up to a great point where you met Mitch, and so let's go back and yes, I mean that was the highlight of her life there, other than being saved. That has to be it. But
yeah, the high point of my life.
There you go. That was an easy softball pitch there, Beth. I'm glad you hit that one.
Hit it out of the park.
But
yeah.
Mitch, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you grew up in the state of Texas, and
yeah. So this is brief. I got saved when I was about 9 years old. I grew up in area north of Dallas, and my family actually helped start a church north of Dallas. It's still there and thriving, and excited to be a part of that. I was growing up as a teenager. I was about 14, 15. And we got to be a part of that. So I'm there visiting and do all kinds of work projects in this church, this new church plant. And so that really kind of helped me as a younger Christian to see what church planting was all about. So that was really great.
Is that your sending church?
That's my sending church. Yeah, it's the same one, Midway Church there, north of Denton, Texas. So they're doing pretty well. Yes, we did that. Then went to Liberty, and I went there as a pastoral ministry major, and eventually got a degree in counseling, master's degree in counseling. And during that latter part of that, I met this lovely Yankee next to me, and that was the highlight of one of the highlights of my life as well.
Wow.
All right. So you guys got married when?
1987, June 20th.
Very good.
Right? All right.
Yeah. Notice I did not ask any particular person that question, but so got married in 1987, and you stayed there in Lynchburg for a time. I think Donna, you and Beth worked, or you and Mitch, or did all 3 of you work together for a while?
No, I first met Mitch. We had speech together our freshman year. We both went in 1980, and so we knew each other back from then, and then reconnected when we joined the couples class when you went, and when we went back as a married couple.
Okay.
And that's how the 4 of us ended up meeting. But Mitch and I knew each other
But didn't you work with Beth or Mitch when we were there?
Both of them.
Okay.
We worked at the what was called LUSL, the School of Lifelong Learning, which I just saw yesterday has now hit 100,000 online students.
Wow.
It is these online program.
So back then, I was in that when I was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
You probably remember this. I was in the Air Force, and I was taking some Old Testament survey class. I was just I knew I was going to go to Liberty, so I was trying to get a jump on the gun a little bit. And they would mail me my box of textbooks and my workbooks and my VHS tapes.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Steve.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So anyway, I got about a semester of work done while I was still in the Air Force to kind of get ahead of things. But so you all met there, and go ahead, Mitch. I kind of interrupted. Or did you? No, you get up to the point. You met Beth.
We met there at Liberty, and eventually we got married and had one child there. I think Beth and Donna, I think, were pregnant at the same time with Megan and Stephanie. And after that, we went together back to Texas. I had a counseling job at a clinic there in Texas.
Was that Minirth Meyer?
Minirth Meyer Clinic, yeah, in Texas. I think it's not there anymore. But we were there, and it was worked there for a couple of years, and ultimately we during that time at our Midway, which is our sending church now, surrendered to missions, and we've been doing mission work since 1994.
So tell me if I got this story correct, but I was talking to one of our pastors today, and we were talking about missions and the call to ministry, and he's been doing a little reading and sermon preparation. He was just really moved by some things that he'd been reading, and your all's names came up in the conversation. But he was talking about how that people in, say, Charlotte, North Carolina, are just as lost as people maybe in Nepal. He said, but people in Charlotte, North Carolina are reached, whereas people in Nepal, they are not reached. They've never heard the gospel. They don't have the opportunity. There's no one there to even share the gospel with them in many of those communities. And so he was talking about that, and we were talking about people going on mission trips, and is it valuable for churches to send groups on short-term mission trips for a week or 2 weeks or for maybe even a longer period than that, but still, is that a waste of money? And that was when your names came up, because I seem to remember that here you guys were, you're working at Minirth Meyer Clinic, and I think Beth was probably staying home with the girls at that time, and kind of just living the American dream to some extent. And you guys went, if I remember correctly, you went on a mission trip to Mexico, and both of you came back, and God had been working in your hearts, and he was moving in both of your lives about being called to international missions.
Exactly. And I would say we need people to lead people to Christ in Charlotte, North Carolina, as well as Tanzania. The Great Commission, as we all know it, is for all the nations. And so we do have a responsibility as a church of Jesus Christ to get the gospel out to all the nations. That's what we do, take that out. And yes, we did do that. Well, I think short-term missions are valuable. Beth and I, we were lay youth leaders, and I was a deacon in our church there in Texas, when we thought we wanted to take a group of, with some other leaders, a group of young people to Mexico, hoping that would stir their hearts for missions. And God used that very trip to stir our heart for missions, and we were the ones that ended up surrendering, go to the mission field, not the youth so much. So, I think they're very valuable, great just for exposure. Let other people see what the lost world looks like.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, now you've got 3 daughters now. Abby, I believe, was born in Kenya?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So the other 2 were born here in the States, one in Virginia, one in Texas, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. One Virginian, one Texan, and one Kenyan.
One Kenyan. Okay. So what? Just quickly, what's going on with them? Where are they at?
Beth, why don't you share what's going on with them?
Yeah. So our oldest, Stephanie, is actually whose house we're in right now doing this interview. we are staying in their basement. It's set up very nicely as an apartment, so we can stay here for a while till the Tanzanian borders open up again. She's married. She met her husband at Liberty University as well. We have a lot of ties there. And they have 3 children. All of them are adopted. One's in the process right now of being adopted. So that's really exciting. They're 4 years old, 2 of them are, and one is going to be a year old next week. So that's great.
Grandparenting.
Yeah. So we're grandparenting right now, which is awesome. We don't get to do that much when we're in Tanzania. And so I just feel like this is a little special bonus time that God's given us to be able to spend time with them and really make some good memories. And we're really trying to do that
Awesome.
as much as you can when you are sheltering in place.
Right.
Kids don't need a lot though.
Yeah.
And Katie, our middle daughter, she is married. She's been married for a year now, and to a young man who is entering into the ministry. He just became an assistant pastor at a church, and they also live in this area right now. So they're doing well. No children yet on that front. They're still getting to know each other and having fun as newlyweds. And then our youngest, Abby, she just graduated from Liberty University in December. And she now is actually working for the online academy.
Oh,
So if you sign your kids up, people out there, for homeschooling through Liberty, she might be the first voice you hear when you
right.
call.
Okay. Awesome.
So that's what they're doing.
All right. Well, I'm trying to. I don't even know what our time is. I don't see a clock here or anything. I know that we've got, I think, limited to an hour on Zoom.
40 minutes.
40 minutes. So I don't want the time to get away from us. I want to ask you a couple of questions here about your ministry there in Dar es Salaam. And I know that things have kind of been up in the air a little bit. One of the things that's really, I know, been on your guys' hearts is just the uncertainty about what lies ahead with, I mean, you guys have been there 25 years plus.
24 years.
24 years, quarter of a century. You have spent your lives in really a third world country. And you know, that's a great example to all of us. But I know that ministry, things have changed there a little bit politically. You want to talk about that and where things stand, and maybe even share with our church what role we've maybe played with that a little bit.
I would love to share that part. About 5 years ago, the government came out with a new restriction that basically said that you get a total of 5 years to do whatever you're going to do in Tanzania, then you have to leave. The idea being that you should be able, in 5 years, you should be able to train someone to take your place. Well, missionaries, that's not really what we do. We do train pastors. We don't really train people to take our places necessarily. We're kind of the catalyst to get things started. And so basically this last April 2019, we realized this was our last year. We had 1 year left. We tried to appeal that decision, but they wouldn't. So we applied again to get the 5th year. Hopefully, they were rejecting some of the even 5th years. And Pastor Steve was so gracious in helping us with $1,000. It's $1,000 to apply for the permit, not knowing if you'll get it or not.
Well, and it wasn't me. It was the church that did that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So thank you, church. That was $1,000 is nothing. It's a lot. So we appreciate that. So anyway, we applied, and we're gracious. We're glad, thankful that we got the year that we deserve, which started April 23rd. Hopefully we'll get back to Tanzania before it's finished.
Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, so we're thankful for that. That's really given us a good. It's helped us decide, make some decisions, and so now we are going to stay there that year, and then following that, we still plan to continue to be missionaries. There's some. We're trying to sort out how that's going to look. We believe we can kind of live in Kenya and still come back and forth into Tanzania, while also starting maybe works in Kenya. Honestly, the whole coastal area from northern Kenya to southern Tanzania, the culture and language is the same. So by moving to Kenya, nothing really changes for us. I mean, there's a little bit, of course, but it doesn't change the culture or the language. We don't have to learn new language or new culture. That's all pretty much similar. So that really gives us a leg up moving up there. then we can come back and port into Tanzania as
you would make border crossings periodically back into Tanzania.
yeah. Because we're still very passionate about what the work Beth was doing with the SIFA project in Dar es Salaam, and me with the pastoral training program. And the pastors are eager to learn that. It's a big need. So we want to keep coming back and forth into Tanzania to make that happen. So
what does the pastoral training program look like? How many pastors are involved with that?
We were supposed to graduate 16 pastors this past April, but the government sent out laws or whatever, mandates that you can't meet together as groups. And so we couldn't do the graduation. So we still have about 16 pastors and church leaders that need to graduate. And then we're always bringing in new students.
Is that because of the virus?
Yes. They didn't want large groups gathering together like graduations and school. They shut all the schools down.
Okay. Well, Beth, tell us a little bit about the ministry that you're involved there with. I mean, what I've seen just looks amazing, and looks like that it has been just something that has really struck a chord with a lot of people and provided a great source of income for a lot of needy ladies, maybe in that area.
Yeah, the project that I've been a part of working with is called SIFA Threads, and I'll spell SIFA because it's easy to look us up online. It's SIFA. SIFA.com. SIFA Threads, like needle and thread.
With an S.
Threads with an S.com, and we just relaunched our website. It's really pretty, and anyway, it'd be a great place to go. We've started a blog on it. You can read more stories about what we're doing. We'll be updating it frequently and just giving information and fun information and good stories about what's going on over there. So we also had to close about a week before we evacuated Tanzania because schools shut down, and SIFA Threads is a school. We have 30 young women studying the Bible, artisanal skills, and business skills. And then they graduate after 1 year. So it was really hard. It was midterm, and we just shut down. And these girls are from really challenging home lives, which is why we take them. We take vulnerable young women who cannot go on in their education past 10th grade. So they had nothing. They returned, not even really home. They live with relatives, grandmothers, aunts, sisters, and nobody really wants them. And so when they went home, they now have no income. We provided daily lunch and breakfast for them when they come. They didn't have that. So with the ingenuity of our staff and some brainstorming on all ends, we gave them some samples of masks, like we're all wearing right now. And so the girls have learned how to make masks. We've sent them home with their sewing machines so that they can make them at home. And they're sitting at home making masks for business now, for their own business. And for every 20 masks they make 5 that they give away for free with a gospel presentation. And so we're trying, and plus that we're giving them food. We raised some money to give them food every 2 weeks. We give them dry goods like flour, cornmeal, sugar. You can't even buy sugar in Dar es Salaam now. And we just gave them about 1 kilogram of sugar last week each. So they were really excited. Anyway, so we're trying to do things with them right now to keep the program going, even though they have to sit at home. So once every 2 weeks, they come in small groups. They get their food items, they get some more fabric, and then they go home and sew these masks and try to sell them. Dar es Salaam just last week made a mandate that every single person in the city has to wear a mask when they leave their homes. There's 6 million people in the city, so this is a great business opportunity for the girls right now. We're excited about that for them. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's a neat thing because like I said, they're giving away 5 every time they make 20, and they're giving out the gospel. We have a tract that they give out with it that explains how to use the mask, how to wash the mask, and how to get saved. All in one handy page. So it's great. And so we're doing that. And also I'm writing Bible studies right now. That's one of the things I'm doing while I'm here in isolation or whatever, is writing daily Bible studies for them to do while they're home. So when they come and get the food, they also get 2 weeks worth of lessons that they have to fill out now and bring back before they get the food the next time, just to give them something to do, keep them going in the Word of God while they're gone. A good many of these girls are believers now, not all of them are. So this year we got a big group of girls that were not believers. Some have come to know the Lord. Some are still struggling in what they believe. So I just felt it was really necessary to keep the Word of God and some just good basic Bible study. So right now they're studying Jesus and who he is through the Beatitudes. So I'm excited about that.
That's great.
So prior to the COVID-19, Beth, what did your typical day look like? Give us a rundown from morning to evening.
Okay, if I was going to CFA Threads, which I try to do 3 to 4 times a week, get up, do my devotions, get ready. But then I get into traffic. We have a lot of traffic in Dar es Salaam. Drive about, depending on the morning, I try to leave the house so it doesn't take me more than 20 minutes, but sometimes it can take 45 minutes to an hour to get there, just depending on the traffic. When we get there, you are greeted by noise and sound. The girls, when they get there, they start cleaning and they get ready for their day and they have their tea time together. And so it's just a lot of chaos and noise and excitement going on. After that, I usually go up to my office where I work on different things like writing Bible studies, and I organize the curriculum there. I'm the curriculum director and the discipleship director. So I work on things with that, meetings with staff, meetings with my leadership, with our main leadership team, which is myself and 2 other missionaries. Sometimes we'll eat lunch with the kids, some girls, sometimes I'll teach a devotional to them, occasionally, but we really have good staff. So it's more of a managerial day there. We get groups that come in to visit us from the outside, like missionaries or expatriates that are living in Tanzania. So I might do a tour with them. We have a coffee shop on site, so people are constantly coming in and out and coming in. So it's just, I try to work there. Actually, when I really want to do work for CFA, I stay home because it's so busy there. So that's a typical day at CFA. It's chaos, it's fun. Sometimes it's really hard. If there's a girl that's having real issues that the staff can't handle, we have meetings, we'll sit with the girl. I, as education director, sometimes have to sit and have had to put girls out of the program or really come down hard on them. I'm known as the serious one of the 3 missionary ladies.
Imagine that, Mitch.
Madam.
I'm the oldest and the one that's always feared, I guess. But not, well, I say that. I shouldn't say that, but you know.
I've always been a little afraid of you, but
yeah.
It's not fear, it's respect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah.
Healthy respect.
Yeah.
It's just like unless you're there, but go on our website and look at pictures. But when you're there, it is a fun, exciting place to be. And when you walk around, it's a 2-story building that we've been blessed to rent. When you walk through the downstairs where the training center is and see these girls that didn't know how to thread a needle and not thread, some of them, who didn't know how to hold scissors properly because there is no there are no arts and crafts classes in schools, and they're too poor to own scissors when they're growing up. Things like this, knowing nothing to when they graduate and they're making beautiful dresses and proud of themselves and what they've achieved. It's so exciting. And I went way too long on that, but I just.
Well, and I assume coming to Christ too. I mean, many of them.
And through the discipleship program, which I'm proud of and just so glad that we can do. Our staff has such a heart for these girls to come to know Jesus. In the beginning, most of our girls were church girls and they were believers, but now we're getting girls from just the community and outside. It's spread out, and you know, you'll have girls from different denominations that don't teach the gospel. You'll have girls from different religions that definitely don't teach the gospel. And when they come in, there's a lot of confusion sometimes at first, but our staff is so good about just sitting with them one-on-one and sharing with them. And then of course we have daily Bible studies that they're graded on to make sure, and Bible memory. So they're hiding God's word in their heart, no matter what they believe,
Right.
which will always be with them. So yeah, that's exciting.
Are there products available for purchase for people in the States to where they can help support SIFA threads?
Yes, thank you for that. When you go on our website, we've expanded the product line that we have on there now, and we've got someone that's in charge of it. And it's a much smoother system, and so you can go online and look at what we've got there. We also and order it, and 100%, other than the shipping costs and things like that, which I think you actually pay as well, they go back into the project. So I don't get anything out of it. I'm not paid through this project or anything, or my colleagues. We use all of it to fund that project over there. Second thing, you can find this on our website too. There's something we call boutiques in a box, where maybe your ladies group or maybe you work with a bunch of women and you would like to talk about SIFA thread, or not even talk about it, but just get a box from us of the product and take it and try to sell it for us. This is all at our cost. We don't charge you shipping or anything like that. You get the box, you send it back at our cost, and after you sell what you can sell. So it's a pretty good deal for the person doing it, but it also helps us by getting the word out about what SIFA Threads does, and it also brings in money for the project. So yeah, every sale is actually a direct contribution to missions.
Okay, so that's sifathreads.com.
sifathreads.com.
Mitch, tell us about your typical day.
Oh, I was afraid you'd ask that.
He doesn't have a typical.
Best typical days are much more predictable than mine.
Yeah.
I'm a missionary pastor too, so Steve's a pastor. He can appreciate this. It's like every day's different.
Yeah.
So the things I focus on during the week are we have mentoring the pastor that has now taken my spot as the pastor. So I'll go there and spend time with him during the week. We also help with the Christian school, helping with the leadership with that in town. We're always constantly planning for our pastoral training programs that are coming up. We'll have a teaching period of 2 weeks at a time. So I may go to another city and teach for 3 or 4 days. And the section that I'm assigned to teach, then come back. We have our feeding center, which that takes some extra care too. And so mine's just kind of all over the place, whatever pressing at the time. But overall, there's an underlying theme or goal to church plant and pastoral training.
Yeah.
To do pastoral training.
His typical day starts at 5 a.m. He leaves the house at 5:45 to miss traffic so he can get over to our church and feeding center. He works over there most of the morning, and then he usually leaves and drives all the way across town, at least an hour to an hour and a half drive, to get to the Christian school, where he is a chairman of the board and has an incredible amount of work that he has to do to help them serve, to keep going forward. So he's actually, and then he works on answering correspondence to pastors back home and all the other things that you have to do up until about 8 o'clock at night. So he's actually being modest. He's very busy, actually.
Well, thank you, Beth, for filling in those modesty gaps that he left there. But,
He works
anyway, well, and the ministry there, I mean, I know that in 24 years, you've been blessed to see a number of people come to Christ, but is it a hard area to share the gospel and see people respond to that, or is it kind of ripe because of the seeds that's been sown, or what?
Our seeds frequently get sown on hard ground.
Yeah.
The area of town where our church is about probably 80% Muslim. So already your potential for church growth is limited because of just the sheer number of Muslims in that area. And it's the ghetto. The ghetto's hard. I mean, it's the typical ghetto stuff, adultery, illegitimate children, all kinds of diseases. And people are just hard sometimes to the gospel and hard to the seeking God in many ways. And so, yeah, it's hard. So, but we're excited because one of the man that's leading the church now, we just ordained him just a couple months ago. His wife was one of our first converts 15 years ago, and she was a Muslim. And so now she is the leader of the women's ministry at that church. And so, you look back, yeah, it is hard, but I definitely see the reward in that, or the fruit from that. And we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
Excited that church is standing on its own now. It has its own pastor, and I'm there to be kind of a consultant.
Yeah. Well, how can Westport Baptist Church be praying for you guys specifically now? What are 2 or 3 things that, if they were going to pray for you, you would say, please be praying about this?
Okay, Beth, you go first now with your seat.
Okay. For me, the first prayer is my leadership team, which is 2 other missionary women, as I've said, we're all going to have to leave Tanzania. They also will have to leave. So we're trying to transition this project into national hands.
I'm typing these prayer requests down, so I don't want you to think I'm being rude by looking down.
No, where it can be run well by the Tanzanians, and where we can set them up for success and equip them to be able to continue the vision of CEPA Threads of educating women in the 3 areas I mentioned. So we're trying to figure that out. There's a lot of complications in how to do it, both with the government and just that we transition out well, so that we leave a good name for ourselves as a team, because we want CEPA to continue on. And we plan to work through this team that we leave behind in Tanzania to help them to continue on the vision of the project to help young women. So in that, there are a lot of decisions to be made. And we plan to present the initial ideas to our staff within the next few weeks, and just that their hearts be ready for this. They are ready to lead, and they know it, but it will be hard for them to hear the finality of how we'll do it. But we have about a year transition plan in place that we're working on. So that's my big one.
Did you get that?
Yes, transition, getting out. I'm wordy. I can't help it.
Okay.
For me, the number one thing now is getting back. When we first decided to leave, we're thinking, we'll be back by the end of May, this will blow over. And already the airlines aren't even coming back into Tanzania until the 1st of July. It's still, the country's still shut down. So that's a little bit disheartening. We have a lot of things we're doing and need to be doing for this transition. And we're kind of, I would say, stuck here in America. It's given us some great office time to work on things. But I just pray for that. That would go on. And pray for the church, our church called Nema House. And just for that pastor, his name is Prosper Ringo.
Spell Nema House.
Neema.
Nema House.
Treat the 2 E's like a long A. Nema House.
Okay.
And so he's actually, while we left kind of quickly, in the end he said, Pastor, this is really good you left, because it gives me a chance to lead the church without you here. People have to depend on me to leadership. So that's, in that sense, it's a good thing. So that and our pastoral training program, we want to get that up and running again when we get back.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to get these notes because I'm going to send out an email to the church with some of this information along with the video. So, okay.
The last is leaving for Kenya, leaving Tanzania by next year. It will be 25 years when we leave, and just our new place of ministry, that God has doors that he will open for us and people for us to meet. And it's scary at our age we're going to start something new again. And it was nice to be able to ride on what we've done, and now God's pushing us. So it's good, but it's scary and exciting at the same time.
This is not really official yet, but it'll probably got Mombasa, Kenya.
Yeah. Where?
Mombasa.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I know where that is. Yeah.
It's the port city in Kenya.
Okay.
On the Indian.
It's only about 200 miles north of where we are right now, or less. But yeah.
Well, I guess just hearing you talk about this and your move to Kenya, I guess the thing that jumps into my mind is certainly we would want to stay in that familiar environment where we've invested so much time. But compared to when I know the age, you're older and all, but you went into Tanzania, and you knew nothing really. But you get to go into this situation and bring all the knowledge and experience with you, and I'm sure that's going to be a great asset with anything new that God leads you to start there.
We hope so.
We hope so. Hopefully we learned something in the last 24 years.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to share?
I think you got pretty much the Cliff Note version of what's going on with us. So thanks for giving us a chance to share. We appreciate you guys and the church's support. It's been a huge blessing.
Absolutely.
Just to know that we have friends there in North Carolina that are helping out and praying for us and wishing us well.
All
And
right.
we appreciate you, Steve and Donna, for bringing us on here to put us before the church so they can get to know us a little better too. We definitely just appreciate your friendship and support and kindness and encouragement of our ministry over the last 20-something, 4 years. Yeah. So thankful.
So definitely our pleasure.
Well, and I just want our church to understand that if they give any amount of money, there is a portion of that's going to you guys and the ministry of you guys that God's called you to, and they're in a way they're part of that ministry because
Absolutely.
And
we'll share and reward.
Yeah, and so it's not Beth and Mitch's ministry. It's Christ's ministry, but we get to be a part of that, and you guys are more directly involved with it. But anybody in our church who puts $1 in that offering plate, they're a part of what's going on for the kingdom in Tanzania, Africa, and soon to be up in Kenya. So
we absolutely could not be there without the support of churches like that. So missionaries aren't on the field unless there are people, hardworking people back in the States that say, hey, I want to help God expand his kingdom worldwide. So yeah,
and through their prayers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very humbled by everyone that supports us.
Yes.
And we're grateful and thankful for you guys, and God bless you guys.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to pray for you, and then why don't you guys pray for Westport?
Okay.
Absolutely. And do that, and we'll end it after that. So, Father, I just thank you for this time, Lord, just to sit down with Mitch and Beth and just to talk with them, and Lord, just to hear their story and to hear the passion of their heart, of what you've called them to there in East Africa. And God, I pray that it's a blessing to our people at our church to be able to hear their story and to understand what it is that they're a part of. And God, we just pray that the requests that have been shared here, Lord, CFA, the ministry there, it's in transition. I pray that transition would go well. God, I pray that the training for pastors, Lord, that ministry will continue. It'll continue well. And Lord, that these things are in your control. God, I just think of Joseph and how, Lord, that the uncertainty of being sold into slavery and taken into Egypt, and yet he told his brothers that they didn't do that to him. God did. And Lord, we know that you're directing the steps of Mitch and Beth and these other missionaries. And Lord, that you're in control of this situation. And we pray, God, that this ministry will become even more fruitful in Dar es Salaam than what it has ever been. And Lord, that those who are there, those locals, God, that your grace would just be poured into their lives in great ways. And Lord, that they would just blossom into great leaders that would not only continue those ministries, but Lord, that those ministries would expand in ways that would be beyond our imagination. And Lord, I just ask that you'd be with the children and grandchildren of Mitch and Beth, their families. And I just pray, God, that your hand would be upon their lives. I just ask you, God, to be with Beth and the health issues that she has gone through. And we just pray that your hand of healing and protection would continue to be upon her. And Lord, we just thank you. Don and I thank you personally, Lord, for the friendship that we've had with this couple over the years. And Lord, just the blessing, the encouragement, and Lord, I would say most important of all, the godly example that they have been to us. And we thank you for that, Lord, from the bottom of our hearts. I pray this in Jesus' name.
Our dear most righteous Father, we come to you by Jesus' name. We thank you so much for Stephen, Donna, and Westport. Father, I pray that you will just bless that church. Pray that it'll grow. And God, as we strive to reach the lost in Tanzania and Kenya with your gospel, I pray that the believers in Westport, they'll reach their community with the gospel. Father, I pray let's bless that church. Thank you for their commitment to missions and wanting to see the Great Commission fulfilled. I pray that you'll just give them wisdom and guidance from this COVID-19 and protect them, Father, from that disease. Father, be with us as we travel back to Kenya, back to Tanzania. May it happen quickly. We ask for your blessings, and we thank you for your grace and mercy that you show us every day, and most of all for Jesus and the cross. We ask all these things in Jesus' holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
Good.
Well, listen, we love you guys. And if there's any unique needs that come up, please do not hesitate to let our church know so that we can have an opportunity to try to.
We will let you know.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bless.
Wait 1 second here. Let me try something. Okay.
We're still recording.